new features in Skore that we have released recently, and I will demo them. So some of them have been released last week, some of them have literally been released this afternoon. So that's a just-in-time demo for you guys. Some of them got released earlier. We'll do a quick roundup, and then we do quality of life and other improvements all the time in the products. This drop-in is an opportunity for me to thank everyone who sends feedback and ideas and propositions on how to make the product better, because this is very key to our process and how we work and how we get the whole platform better. So further introduction, let's start by big features that we have released recently. I would go through the process properties, the custom process properties, which is the main thing that we released last week, and the external links library that we have literally released now this afternoon. So let's start by the process properties. So the challenge was, when I'm going back to the process list, and the challenge was in the process properties panel here, we could only document the purpose. And even though that really helped, that was most of the time not enough. So a lot of users were asking for different fields to add. And then we thought, all right, let's give the user the ability to customize any fields they want. So this is what I have here. I have a purpose field, as we always had. I have a KPI, PPI fields. I also have a process champion, which is a user picker. I selected myself as the process champion. I have a process sponsor, which is Chris Green. I also have an owner role. This came from a customer idea. What they wanted is not only having the process owner, but also having what's the role of the process owner. So we used a role picker to do that. And then I have some more fields for your inspiration on using this feature, like who are the customers and suppliers of this process, when is the last internal audit? I use the date picker. When is the last external audit, etc. So these fields can be tailored to your needs for the project and for the workspace. So I will show you where it's done. So it's done by administrator, by workspace admin in the admin space, and then you have a new menu here called process properties. When you look at that for the first time, you will see that by default we are using the Skore default, which is provided by Skore, which is essentially just the purpose field. Clicking in the top right corner, if you haven't done it already, you can create a new process property definition for your workspace. You can only have one, so it's either the Skore default or the one you decide. And all processes will use the same process properties. Okay, so you cannot have one process to use the standard form and another to use your customized form. So this is made to be consistent and easier in reporting. So if I'm editing, there is the same form editor that we have used already for creating questionnaires and forms in Skore. And then here we can see that the fields I showed you earlier. So KPI, which was a long text, process champion is a user picker, the owner role is a role picker. I can reorder the roles, the fields the same way, and then click preview to see if it looks like what I'm intending. Once you save that, you need to make it a default. It's already for me. You need to make it default to apply it to all the existing processes. So I think this will really help with enforcing some more data capture at the process level rather than at the box level. What's very interesting is the same way we've used. The process variables is a feature we have in Skore for a long time. So I can do, for example, process underscore name, and it will automatically be replaced by the current process name, which is drop-in, what's new in Skore. It works for all these new, so I had a process sponsor. So it works, you just use the field slug that you have when you're editing, when you're in the editor to build this form. You have something called the slug, you use it, process slug, process sponsor. So now the process sponsor is shown here, Chris Green, directly. So you've seen which field it's matching. So these process properties, I think it will be great. So when you're starting maturing and having a better, more comprehensive use of your process library, this would be a great place to capture additional information, and everything is available in the reporting. When you report for a process, you will have all these additional data that is shown. So it's very easy to extract to Excel. So that's the first new feature that we released just last week. Now I will go next into the external link library. Then, as I said, it was literally released right now. So this is the ability to register links. What I have here is media, where I am by default, and then I have a new tab called external links. What I can create, it's mostly useful for users that are storing a lot of files in SharePoint or Google Drive, where generating the links is a bit of hard work. So let's say we have a policy which is in SharePoint. We can do a process mapping policy, why not? Process mapping policy, and then here I can just paste a link that I would generate from SharePoint. So it would look like something quite complicated, SharePoint.whatever.com / and then a whole lot of characters at the end that are a bit undecipherable for the human. And then I can choose an icon. What's the icon? So let's say it's a PDF. I can just for having it nice and tidy, I can have it in as an icon. I can add this link. And what's the purpose of this library is that I can easily reuse all these links that I have registered. So let's create another one just so it's less boring. I don't know, ICO homepage, ico.co.uk. And let's say the globe icon, I'm happy with it. Okay, if I'm going to a process now, the whole point is that I can easily link to these processes. So web link. Now you see the web link is the same as we had before, add attachments web link, but I have now the option to select from the external link library directly. So let's take my PDF, okay, confirm, and then I have a link to this SharePoint.whatever.com that opens in a new tab if I click there. So if you're linking the same document on boxes over and over and over again, this is actually much more convenient to do. And second benefit is if this link ever changes, the location, you only need to change the link once in the library instead of having to change it on every single box that you've created, and with a chance of missing one inevitably. So if you have both, you see that you can either pick a link from the external or just choose the old way of making links. So the external link will take the priority. So if you have both, if you're really trying to push the system, that you have a link to, I don't know, google.com, this is still the process mapping policy that will take over until you've actually deleted that. Just a note on how it's implemented. These links are also available. They're also available in the link picker when you're on the text. Open the policy. They're also available here. External links, same logic. We can either just type a URL or link to a document in the library, and the link will update automatically if you make a change. It's a very convenient feature and really pushes the messages that Skore is made for process diagrams, process mapping, but it's not documents. It's not an advanced document management systems. And a lot of companies are enforcing to use SharePoint or a similar thing like Confluence, a proper document management system. And now we make the interactions between the two much more easier. Just as a quick reminder on feature that we recently released, but maybe you weren't there for the announcement or you haven't noticed, we have a glossary. And we have a glossary now, very convenient way, especially when you're working with a lot of teams that are not your teams or a new business. You can easily capture new definitions that, when you come across them. Let's say BT black text is in previous experience, we were using that a lot. And the thing I love the most, I think, about these glossaries is that they can prove, you can do the hashtag key and then start typing, it will search. So approve BT, and it will show on the text while you're editing a process, it will show as there's a definition. So this dotted underscore, when you hover over, it shows the definition. So not only you can create this glossary of items over time and look like an expert that you've been in this business forever because you know all the acronyms. If you actually forgot one, you just hover over and it shows to you and anyone who wants to know. So that's a feature I love. Another one we released a little bit earlier this year, I can't remember now when it was exactly, but it's the ability to create documents. So even though earlier I said that Skore is not a full content management system, for quick procedures, quick documents, creating a text-based document is now possible. So this is just a big editor. You have all the features that you expect from the text editor that you're familiar with while editing Process Box. You can format the text. So we had a lot of feedback recently on little bugs and things that were behaving strangely in the text editor, and we fixed quite a lot of them in this latest release today. So please send the feedback again. people are doing crazy formatting things like tables, indentation, and things like that. And sometimes they look a bit off, but we are more than happy to fix them when we missed one, because formatting text happens to be very complex, as we discovered along the way. So please send your feedback on that. Yeah, so texts are great for little procedures that are complementing a process. So so how to, I don't know, how to enable pricing categories on whatever, and do a system change. So you do A, B, C. Okay, that's a very generic one here. But because in Skore everything is related, what I think makes it quite nice is that if I'm attaching, I will attach this document I just created. How to register a Skore, it must be at the end. Yeah, how to enable pricing category. It was even written new, nice one. Confirm. So here it's now on my document. Okay, cool, I can open it. Let's go the other way around. Let's go to the documents. But now I see here, what I wanted to show you is that I see here in the related content where this document is actually used for. So very interesting piece of linking the data. And if I had a role on my box, it would show here. Actually, let's make it. So open the policy, and let's say the policy is used by the AP manager. I will navigate back to my documents. Now, not only I see which process box it's open, it's used, but also on the which role is it relevant for, and I would have systems the same way. So this has been in product for a couple of weeks, or if not months at this stage. A feature that is coming soon, that is unreleased to the public at this stage, is recently visited history. So here in the top right, and that will be in the top right on every screen, I can easily see all my past visits on this workspace. So I went into this process, and earlier today I was in this other process, this document I've looked at. So very quick way to navigate from process to process, especially for us business analysts and editors of processes, where we tend to work with a lot of processes, navigate all over the place. Here, at least, we can access the last ones that we were on. So very convenient, sort of, I call them the quality of life features. They don't make a major difference in the product, but they're making a nice experience for us as intense user of the platform. So that's in terms of what I call features, so really new things. In terms of quality of life, as we were talking about it, so let me start by the role and system picker recently used. I think this is Craig is not on the call, but he was requesting it, and probably being the loud voice of many users. And one of the problem of the user picker here, sorry, the role picker at this stage, and same for the system picker, is that it was sometimes quite hard to add the same role over and over. And what we realized is that when you're mapping a process, it's pretty much a dozen roles that are used constantly over the time. So now I'm just picking some random roles, administrative assistants. So now I would create a blank one. You see that at the top, the first three that are loaded are the one that I used the most recently. All right, so it saves the last 10 roles that you've used recently at the top of the list before you start typing anything. So they will be there. And if I use the AP manager, it will be bumped. It will be bumped on top of the list, so that it's even easier to reuse the same role over and over again. So it should save a number of clicks. We had this feedback that there are a couple of actions in Skore that take what some users think is too many clicks. So we are looking into it, and this was the first thing that we did to remediate this behavior. So that's works for roles, that works for system, and this recently used list is per user, so it's saved for you, not for your colleagues. So your colleagues will see something else. So I hope you'll see the benefit of that. So let me show you two things around in the process list: the search and the access rights. Okay, so search filter processes here. Even though we have the big search at the top, we realize that a lot of users were still using the filter process, because it literally filters only in the process list, and it only filters on the process name. And this is sometimes what we want. We want a quick filter, what's new, we know what we're looking for, we just want a quick way to access it. So what was very annoying, I find, for the lack of another word, is that this filter process search was just disappearing all the time. I constantly clicked here, and I saw users doing that in when watching them over their shoulders. So now it sticks basically. If it's there, it's there, and the same by owner. If you decide to show it until you hide it manually, it just sticks there, just convenient. Another convenient thing, we separated the access rights from the properties panel, just because it's such a different feature. And now with the custom properties, we have so many fields that it was making a screen which was very high, very long to scroll. So we moved the access rights to another slider, but also we redesigned the whole thing to hopefully be much easier to read and manage. So the previous one was, for us as developer of the application, it made complete sense, but we had to explain it way too often to users how it works. So hopefully now we've embedded all these little logic, and it should really help you setting the access rights the right way, and without doubts of what happens when you're setting up. Because I think this was the problem of the other one. You were unsure sometimes of side effects. So you can add users, I'm adding all these guys, ads, and then you can customize for them the rights they will have. They can edit and edit or not the process. So here I'm locking the process to everyone, so careful not doing that. And that was a little design exercise, and I think there's a couple of places elsewhere in the product where we can do this sort of redesign thing. What is this feature comprehensive, understandable by the end user, or is it just us as developer having made something that is logical to us, to our brain, but not to requires explanation to be usable? And that's the access rights. What else? Reports, saving. So before save, because there's nothing to show in save. Save, we made some change in the background to how the processes are saved, and the main way it will impact you in the positive way is when doing massive copy and pastes. So this was sometimes failing, sometimes succeeding. It was not very predictable. And now with the changes we did, it's very predictable. It works all the time. So save, we changed the way the content is sent to the backend, and that really, really helps. A quick one with attachments images, because it was in the same release, I realized. When you have an image attached to, I think I've prepared one here. When you have an attachment, we see a lot of customers are attaching screenshots, but they were so small that we couldn't read, and it was basically a bit useless. So now when I click on the screenshot, it just shows it in big, so without resizing at all. So even if it's bigger, it will also show. And just clicking again will just hide it. So very convenient way when attaching images that have quite a lot of text that is unreadable when it's too small here in the thumbnail. Going back to the reporting, so reporting here, we've added a couple. And I think the most interesting one for the most users are probably the all custom fields. So the feedback we had is, reporting per custom field is nice when in some cases, but in other cases, in a given process map, we use so many different custom fields that I want all of them at once. I don't want to have 4 reports to extract and then merge them one by one. So this is exactly what this report is doing. It groups all the custom fields together in one single report. So I see the custom field idea, doesn't have a grouping and has a comment, etc. And then, as usual, you can use the scope selector to filter by scope. But we have a drop-in session dedicated to using this scoping tool. So that's the reporting thing. And to finish, if I'm scrolling my workspace at the bottom left, we have 2 things. So we have the contact support, where we've added attached usage logs. So if you have a bug in Skore or something that doesn't work as you expect, the best way to contact us is using this contact support, a title and a description, it's literally sending an email to support@getskore.com. All right, so that will be the subject, that will be the content. And if you leave that checked, it really helps us. It sends a log of your, basically what you've done in the product recently. You see what is sent here in this show log thing, and it's basically showing your navigation and a couple of other informations that are quite interesting to us when we want to debug information. It's pretty much anonymous. We cannot do much from this data, and so far that this feature has been in the product, we don't really keep them. It's interesting for us to debug a given case, but so no worries about anonymity or the usage of these logs. There's nothing that reveals any critical information. So that's the contact support. So yeah, this thing goes into a service desk and it's managed, but having the logs is really helpful to us. And one last thing to close off this chapter is the change log here that's new in little gifts. So when you click there, you will see all the, that's why we see today's release. You see all the release of Skore. I mean, most of them. Sometimes we do release bug fixes without adding a change log. It's not worth it. But everything we add and fix that is not worthy, especially when it's been notified by you guys, by users. So yeah, if you want to see once in a while what's new in Skore, we don't have the full history of changes for forever in Skore, but we are getting very good at being disciplined about writing this file. So please visit this page once in a while.